must have been 10, 11, 12 years old, when I saw Raiders of the Lost Ark, in the scene with a great big ball bearing chasing him down that tube. That was one of the most memorable scenes of any movie I've seen as a kid. I left there just vibrating. I was like, yeah, you know, I mean, it was cool.
When you're casting, you have a particular idea. I mean, we knew what he looked like when he grew up. I knew I was looking for somebody idealistic and naive.
You mean the pyramids?
Because the whole point of the show is that he's sort of facing all these adventures, and this is what turns him into sort of the world-weary cynic that he becomes later on.
You're being irrational. Emotions are clouding your judgment. You're endangering the men and putting our mission at risk.
This is mutiny, Captain?
I disagree. Now drop your weapon. It's not a request.
I'll have you before firing squad. All of you.
Yes, sir. Rick, the producer, gave me 3 copies of The Last Crusade, Raiders of the Lost Ark, and Temple of Doom, and I watched each one of those, no joke, like 25 times to, you know, learn how Harrison Ford rode a horse. How he walked and how he turned around, and the way he spins around and his arms are spread out, the way he puts his hat on, you know, the way he cocks his hat. You know, the way he wears his hat around females.
Are you mad at me?
No, of course not. It's truly magical. I'm glad. It's the perfect birthday present.
It's your birthday? Why didn't you say something?
It's no big deal. It's the perfect way to spend it. You know, he's a ladies' man and a man's man together.
This is about a classic story of an American boy who primarily, especially during the first 2 seasons, is an American who, for the first time in popular television terms, learns everything about life that Indy learns is from Europe and the rest of the world.
不，回退。那儿，很好，你赢了。You won. Won. That's good.
The scripts are so well written, and there's so much time and effort put into the research of them, and that does a lot. That gives us enough time to prepare them.
At the beginning of the series, we developed our own timeline, chronology from about 1908 to 1922 of all major events and all the important figures of the day. So we initially break down the script, all the main sets. We cover that with reference, but then details come up from location. There are always emergencies. Months later, after you've done the initial research, we're shooting a street scene. Can you clear a sign, the name of a business? We're shooting it in 2 hours, please. Fax it.
We're called in from all parts of the world to meet with George, who has a master list of events and story ideas.
Does Indy actually get to sit down and talk to him? Or does he see him from a distance? We do 1 story a day, which is very intense over 3 weeks, and there's a little bit of the syndrome of, if it's Tuesday, it must be Belgium.
It can get loud, it can get excited, you know, because you've got writers in there. It can get kind of passionate, of course, but it's all to the good. It's all, you know, aimed at creating the best show that we can.
Everyone gets real silly by the afternoon. And my role is kind of to be the schoolmarm, which is not the most fun, and say, you can't do that. The reason the details are important is because that's the area we have the most control. Because we're taking dramatic license of having a fictitious character meet all these famous people.
Mr. Picasso?
Yes.
We try to be as honest as we can about that. But with the set design and the costume design, that's something we can do right. We can do 100% right. And the designers care about that very much.
And for us in the art department, the preparation time is immensely valuable. I mean, once we start shooting, we're living on the preparation that we've done in the previous 16 weeks. The easiest thing for us to do for directors who are just coming and they've only got 2 or 3 days is to do as many things in a visual form as we can. I mean, often drawings.
We can have 30, 40 Germans running here. We can be running down here or walking.
We probably would have done a lot of work on the episode before they joined us, with sort of conceptual things, with Rick and I being involved in location recce's and finding things out in terms of just whether things are possible. So by the time the director joins, we've probably got models and drawings and many location photographs. You do find that most directors react much better to models, be they block models or little simple card models. They can actually get in there and you can see their mind actually starting to be inside that rather than just like looking at a picture. On there, so it's like across the front of that. The advantage of this is we can have the real train later on and going past it. We're actually managing to get that right next to the...
Yeah, that's great. We should look at that.
I don't think I've ever worked with anybody quite like Rick before. He's the one person actually on site who probably makes everything work in terms of just his enthusiasm.
It's when they shell at night and they hear the shell whistling overhead.
Fantastic.
You can
As boys, most of us had our train set when we were young. I mean, it is something that you've got to be fairly relaxed about and see the exciting side of it. There could be times if you thought too hard about what you're doing that things could seem a little bit daunting, certainly. So, but when you've got little train models in front of you, it's very difficult really to take everything too seriously.
No, please don't kill me! Please don't kill me! Okay, quick, out of those uniforms.
I think we've given a whole new meaning to location shooting, at least in television. So far, on Series 1, we've shot in 12 countries. We have another 10 countries to do in Series 2. Many of the locations were so remote. Like in Africa, we built a little encampment on the edge of the end of the Tana River. We had to build everything there from scratch. I mean, even a runway to bring in the supplies. And we built 55 tents, which is where all of us lived for 9 weeks. It was such an extraordinary experience. I don't think any of us will ever forget it. It's certainly a far cry from shooting on the back lot in Hollywood.
I got in there, Daddy.
Watch yourself, Annie. You're just about to
all right. He's got my arm. He's still got my arm. I'm out.
You're out. He's out. He's out. Everybody walk away.